when I left Nike a couple years ago. It was good to kind of take a break after 36 years. Had an amazing career at Nike and got to work with so many of you in footwear, in storytelling, which is really what we're all about, getting to know athletes and really kind of, as Phil says, listen to athletes and not assume that we always know what to do and what's best, but really pick up our listening skills and listen and try to react or even pre-act and help athletes perform better on the field. So had a great career there. And after I retired from Nike, kind of took a break. I'm connected to Oregon State. I was president of their student athlete board. And last summer, as my presidency ended, I was kind of like, okay, I've got a lot of passion, a lot of energy still. What's next? And through a series of conversations, partnered up with another person who was the athletic director's kind of right-hand person at chief of staff at Oregon State. And we partnered up to create an NIL collective for Oregon State athletes. So some of you probably know nothing about NIL. That stands for name, image, and likeness. And so athletes are able to benefit from their name, image, and likeness now and actually go out and earn money. It's not a free paycheck, but it's they can use it to promote their own brand, to learn in the big picture. And that's and those of you that do know a little bit about it, you probably know it is the wild, wild west right now. So there are very few regulations out there. There are some regulations, and then I would say when you look at NIL opportunities that are coupled with NCAA transfer rules, which in the past, if you transferred from one school to another, you usually had to sit out a year and then you could compete the following year. Now you are allowed to transfer 1 year to another school, don't have to sit out, and you can go one time and then immediately become eligible. So as you can imagine, building your brand or looking for opportunities while you have the ability to transfer, it's become the wild, wild west. And so one of the other reasons I wanted to jump into this was to do it the right way. There are a few regulations, like you're not supposed to talk to athletes until they have transferred or they are at the school that you are representing, and then you can start having relationships with them. We know that's not the case with a lot of schools. They will actually go out and kind of recruit. Officially, NIL collectives like ours are not, you have no affiliation with the university, meaning you can't work directly with the athletic department. You're not a part of the school, but you obviously are there to help those student athletes. So I'm going to see if I can share my screen here just to kind of show just a couple slides. So hopefully people can see that. Can you see our opening slide? This isn't a slide, this is actually our website. So Damnation Collective, we worked in the fall to get this up and going, and then actually officially launched second week in November. And one of the reasons we did that was we want to work with all student athletes in all sports, but we know that football is a big sport on campus, and we know that poll lists the rest of the tent of the athletic department. So we wanted to launch while we were still in the football season before that ended, and get our roots going. And so currently we have launched, and it gets busier and busier every week. But I think, like most of you throughout your Nike careers, being busy when you're doing something you're passionate about and you're having fun about has been wonderful. So again, wake up every morning kind of excited for the day, even if there's wall-to-wall things. One thing that is nice, though, that I'll say, busy, but it's not busy with meetings all day like probably we used to have it at the Swish a lot. It's kind of work that's ongoing and on the move all the time. So again, Damnation Collective is one-stop shop for all OSU student athletes and teams to create, optimize, and promote their brand. their name, image, and likeness through these NIL opportunities. And I kind of feel like the 36 years at Nike, great career, you know, learned a ton, but I kind of feel like that's kind of, maybe like a lot of you, has kind of prepared me for this next chapter in my life. Because at the end of the day, getting to work on product with amazing people, and listen and talk to athletes and try to help athletes all the year. Now that's just translating to helping these student athletes at Oregon State and helping tell their story, build their, I hate the word brand, but build their story, tell their story. And most importantly, and I'm going to roll down to our mission here. Most importantly, help them in the long run and not the short run. So so our goal here, and when we say the things that we want to do in a good way, is not provide just a quick check like, hey, go represent McDonald's, get a quick paycheck, and you're off and rolling here, but really help them in the long term. So we go down, we meet with all the athletes that we start to work with, and kind of get to know them a little bit. What makes them tick? What's their major in school? What are their goals in life beyond their playing days? And really kind of get to know them, so that as we start to look at opportunities for them in the future, they are things that will help them in the long run. Maybe they want to become an entrepreneur in the future and own their own apparel company or footwear company or whatever. So we hook them up with people who are entrepreneurs and have started their own businesses and help them understand that. It's been gratifying to see that some of them that we work with now are already thinking about the big picture. So they want to learn about taxes, and they want to learn about, okay, so if I'm actually starting to make a little money while I'm in school, I want to make sure I just don't go out and blow it. So how do I learn about taxes and how to manage my money a little bit better, which has been wonderful too. So, and as you can imagine, as we get to know them, I will say at the end of the day, and any of you, if any of you are like me and you watch the news at night and you kind of come away from, maybe feeling a little depressed about all the issues in the world, when you get to work with student athletes every day, you can kind of figure out, you know what, our future's going to be okay. There are a lot of student athletes that have more on their mind than just the next paycheck or the next game. They are focused on their future. They're focused on the world's future. There are a number of missions at Oregon State that we are helping them partner with. One is called Damn Worth It, which is around mental health, and how do we help them work through all those stress. We'll probably be reaching out to Colette, you at some point, to kind of help there a little bit. There is Damn Change, about how do you fight racism on campus, and how do you fight racism beyond campus. So that part has been a lot of fun. How it kind of works, I'm going to scroll down here. This is kind of just kind of a flow chart that we kind of put together, again, to help work through with the athletes. So as we look at, brand creation, so we meet with teams, we meet with student athletes. Since NIL is very new, we are continually learning ourselves. We are talking to student athletes about what NIL is all about. We're talking to investors, potentially investors, in terms of what NIL is all about. And then through those stories and relationship building, we start to create some opportunities that we hope are, again, going to help them in the future, not just today. And so that's been a lot of fun to kind of start to talk with the student athletes and figure out what are some businesses, what are some areas where you want to go to in the future, and we can help out there. The nice thing is, we partner through Oregon State. We partner with a company that makes sure that it is all compliant. All their deals they receive tax information right away. And so we don't have to do any of the compliance checks, but luckily for the student athletes and for the school, that is all done. And then we really work with different businesses and different groups to really create, we call it product creation, because I come from a product background at Nike, but it's really like what are these opportunities, relationships, whether it's with a business, whether it's with a nonprofit. We have a number of football players right now who have all purchased or have a dog, and so on campus, and the dog is, what kind of keeps them sane in their off hours when they're not studying, when they're not working out, when they're not in games. So we're going to look to do something with Heartland Humane Society right there in Corvallis and help out there. So there are a number of nonprofits that these kids are interested in too. And then you execute on the opportunity, and then we start the process all over again. So I don't want to spend too much time here, but I will say that the skills we learn at a company like Nike, where we learn to listen, we learn to act, we learn to, hey, if you don't know, like Jana just said, if you don't know how to do it, you figure out a way, you start talking to people and figuring out a way, you network and start talking to people, and through that you hear about opportunities that you can present back to these student athletes and say, hey, have you ever thought about this? Have you ever thought about working with this company or with this type of situation? And so everything we do is kind of fun and exciting every day. We feel we're doing it the ethical way. We're not going to break the rules and talk to athletes before they get on campus. And so we feel like, from an investor standpoint, from a student athlete standpoint, and from the school we kind of represent, we're building trust. They don't have to worry about these guys are going to go out and do something that we're going to have to be worried about down the road here. And so that is super important to us, to the student athletes, and to their families going forward. So like I say, we launched in November. Since the transfer portal for football just closed last week, we have a lot of football players that we are working with right now, because before you do a lot of deals or a lot of opportunities with them, you want to make sure they're still at the school there. So we wait till we get through the transfer portal, and then we start building these opportunities with them. We're also working with some of the OSU gymnasts, some of the women's basketball team, and some of the men's basketball team. And then as we go forward, we're looking forward to working with some baseball and softball players in the spring here. And then we'll start looking at some fall sports as we get ready for that in the later spring and into summer there. So like I say, like a lot of you, probably a lot going on. We are learning every day while we kind of get this going. And but it's been a lot of fun and really exciting every day. Thanks for the time. I really appreciate it.